Imagine waking up tomorrow and finding out you have just 30 days to leave the country you've called home for years. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But for many, this is a looming reality. The United Kingdom's immigration landscape is undergoing its most significant transformation in a generation. New rules, quietly rolled out and set to expand, have already sent shockwaves through communities across the nation. Stricter salary requirements, soaring visa fees, and tightened government powers are just the beginning. Could you, or someone you know, be caught off guard? Are students, skilled workers, and even families who have built their lives here now at risk? Today, we are cutting through the noise to break down the 10 most critical immigration rule changes you absolutely need to understand. Some of these are complex, others are controversial, but all of them are real. Staying informed could be the single most important thing you do to protect your future in the UK. First, let's talk about the change that has dominated headlines, the stricter minimum salary requirements. If you thought the old salary thresholds were a challenge, the government has raised the bar to a whole new level. The minimum salary for a skilled worker visa has seen a dramatic increase. As of July 22, 2025, the standard minimum salary required for many new applicants will rise to £41,700 per year, or the going rate for your specific job, whichever is higher. This is a significant jump, leaving many workers and employers scrambling. Think about the real-world impact. What happens to junior professionals, creatives, or staff in the hospitality sector who don't meet this new, higher threshold? The difficult truth is that many could be forced to leave, even if they've been contributing to the UK economy and society for years. Legal experts have warned that even a small salary shortfall could lead to a visa denial. This isn't just about a number on a payslip. It's about lives, families, and careers hanging in the balance. It's crucial to note that these changes also apply to renewals and extensions, meaning that even those who have been legally residing in the UK for years must meet the new financial standards when it's time to extend their stay. Next, we turn to a topic of huge concern for international students, the future of the post-study work visa. Imagine investing years of your life and a small fortune into a UK degree, only to be told you have to leave almost immediately after graduation. The popular post-study work visa, known as the graduate route, which previously gave graduates 2 years to find work, is being reformed. The government has announced plans to reduce its length from 2 years to 18 months. What does this mean for a new graduate? Without that crucial 2-year buffer, you must secure a sponsored skilled worker job much faster. The countdown to departure will begin the moment you throw your graduation cap in the air. This shortened window puts immense pressure on graduates, especially since many UK employers can be hesitant to take on the cost and complexity of sponsoring someone fresh out of university. If you are a current student, the advice is clear. Start your job hunt early, network aggressively, and target companies that are already licensed sponsors. Proactivity is no longer just a good idea, it's a survival strategy. Now, for a change that strikes at the very heart of family life, the new criteria for family reunification. Bringing your loved ones to join you in the UK has always been a detailed process, but it has now become significantly more difficult. In a major policy shift, the government raised the financial requirement for family visas on April 11, 2024. A UK sponsor must now earn a minimum of £29,000 per year to bring a partner to the coup. This was a first stage of a planned increase. And while a further rise to over £38,000 was initially scheduled for early 2025, it has been put on hold pending a review. Simply having a job is no longer sufficient. The Home Office is scrutinizing employment history, income stability, and any gaps in work more closely than ever. For many, the dream of being reunited with a spouse or partner is now tied to a very specific, and for some, unattainable, income figure. The alternative is to show substantial cash savings, which, with a new income threshold, now stands at a staggering £88,500. These rules are intended to ensure that family units are self-sufficient, but critics argue they are creating a Britain where only the wealthy can have their families with them. Let's discuss something that affects every single applicant: the rising cost of applications. Brace yourself, because the price of a UK visa has become substantially more expensive. In April of 2025, application fees across most visa categories saw another increase, rising by an average of 7%. A skilled worker visa application can now cost over £769 for a 3-year visa, while an application for indefinite leave to remain, or settlement, has climbed to over £3,000. But the fees don't stop there. You must also factor in the cost of a certificate of sponsorship, which can be over £500, and the immigration skills charge, which can be up to £1,000 per year for many employers. The government's stated aim is to make the immigration system self-funding, meaning the financial burden falls squarely on the shoulders of applicants and their sponsors. For a family of 4, the combined, upfront costs can easily run into the tens of thousands of pounds. A simple miscalculation or failure to pay the exact correct amount can now lead to an automatic and costly rejection. Another significant hurdle being raised is the mandatory English test for more visas. It used to be that English tests were primarily for specific routes, but now, higher-level English proficiency is becoming a requirement across the board, including for the dependents of visa holders for the first time. Starting in late 2025, many skilled worker visa applicants will need to demonstrate language skills at a B2 level, which is considered upper intermediate, a step up from the previous B1 requirement. More strikingly, adult dependents will now need to prove a basic A1 level of English to enter the UK, and will be required to show improvement to an A2 level for an extension and a B2 level for settlement. This isn't just about conversational English anymore. It requires the ability to understand complex texts and express nuanced opinions. While the government frames this as a measure to improve integration, it adds another layer of cost and stress. Each test can cost between £150 and £300, not including preparation courses and travel. For many, this new requirement feels less like an integration tool and more like another barrier designed to make the path to life in the UK that much harder. The next point concerns the skilled worker shortage list. For years, the shortage occupation list was a lifeline for migrants in critical sectors, offering lower salary thresholds and more accessible visa routes. That lifeline has been dramatically altered. The old list was abolished and replaced in April 2024 by a new, much shorter immigration salary list. More recently, a temporary shortage list was introduced in July 2025 to run until the end of 2026. This list includes some medium-skilled roles that would otherwise be ineligible under the new rules, but it's a temporary measure. Sectors that once heavily relied on this route, such as social care, have seen major restrictions. For example, overseas recruitment for care workers through the skilled worker route was ended in July 2025. If your job was previously on the shortage list but isn't on the new, shorter lists, you may now need to meet the full, higher salary threshold of £41,700. This change means many roles no longer qualify for sponsorship at all, severing vital immigration pathways and leaving employers in key sectors facing significant staffing challenges. Now for a change that brings a new level of fear and uncertainty: tighter deportation powers. While deportation has always been a component of immigration law, new policies are making the process faster and with fewer avenues for appeal. The government is expanding its powers to remove individuals for what might have previously been considered minor offenses. Furthermore, new legislation, such as the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill, aims to strengthen the system against abuse and speed up removals. Recent court cases have highlighted the government's determination to accelerate deportations, even when modern slavery claims are involved. The message is stark. The margin for error is shrinking. A missed deadline, a clerical error on a form, or a misunderstanding of a visa condition could now have consequences that are not only severe but also incredibly swift. The balance is shifting, with factors like family ties and length of residency in the UK carrying less weight against what the government defines as the public interest. The process of visa renewal has also become a source of immense hardship. If you thought getting your first visa was stressful, renewing it is now a high-stakes challenge. The 2025 updates demand higher standards of documentation and stricter adherence to deadlines. It is no longer a routine formality. Proof of continuous employment is critical for work visas, with any unexplained gaps potentially leading to refusal. Financial records must be pristine and cover your entire visa period. Every renewal is now a complete re-evaluation of your eligibility. Processing times are also a factor, with applications needing to be submitted well in advance. Miss the window, and you could find yourself without legal status overnight, facing a notice to leave the country in a matter of days. Next, we must address the crackdown on asylum applications. The government has implemented a significant restructuring of the asylum system, designed to deter what it calls illegal migration. The system now operates with much shorter deadlines for submitting claims. The interpretation of the Refugee Convention is also under scrutiny, with a greater emphasis placed on the expectation that asylum should be claimed in the first safe country a person reaches. Furthermore, new guidance on the good character requirement for citizenship now states that anyone who enter the UK illegally and delayed their asylum claim may be refused. The government's clear objective is deterrence through administrative pressure, limited legal recourse, and rapid removal. Finally, we come to the new health surcharge hike. It was introduced as a contribution to the National Health Service, but for many, it now feels like a prohibitive barrier. The immigration health surcharge was increased by 66% on February 6, 2024. The current fee stands at £1,035 per adult, per year, and £776 per child. Let's put that into perspective. A family of 4 renewing a 3-year visa would have to pay an upfront bill of nearly £16,000, just for the right to access the NHS. This fee must be paid in full at the time of the application. There are no payment plans. Critics are quick to point out that most migrants already pay for the NHS through their taxes and national insurance contributions, making this a form of double taxation. It's a heavy financial burden that is pushing many families to the breaking point. These 10 changes represent a fundamental shift in the UK's approach to immigration. They are not just policies on paper. They are creating real-world consequences for individuals, families, and employers. Which of these rules do you think will have the biggest impact? Let's discuss it in the comments. And if you found this video informative, please subscribe for more critical updates and analysis. Your support helps us continue to bring these important stories to light.